everybody. Welcome to JC Maranatha Prophetic Alert 4. So in this session, I'm going to share some visions that God has been showing me concerning World War III. This is actually a continuation of what we started earlier, and God has been giving more clarity about the events that are going to unfold. So definitely pay attention and share this with everybody, and just make sure that as many people as possible know about this. Clearly, World War III is something that is going to be monumental. It's going to change the world as we know it, and nothing is going to remain the same after the event. It's going to affect so many lives, and we have to be prepared. The people of God have to be prepared and not be caught unaware by the things that are going to take place. That is why God is speaking consistently about this theme, giving us more information, more clarity, so that we can pass along, so that people can pray, people can fast, people can prepare as they are led by the Spirit for this event. All right, so let's begin. To give you some context about what was happening when God began to show me these visions and night visions, God began speaking to me at that time when Iran was threatening to attack Israel because Israel had assassinated the Hamas leader on Iranian soil. It was during that time when Iran and Hezbollah were actually planning and threatening a counterattack against Israel. Remember this about prophecy. Sometimes God speaks to us about the future when a current event is happening, because that current event is kind of similar to what will happen in the future or whatever he is prophesying about. Let me give you a biblical example. God spoke to Daniel concerning the end times more than a lot of Old Testament prophets, right? God spoke to Daniel concerning the end times and gave very clear messages about the Antichrist and the future rulers who would oppress God's people, because Daniel was living at a point in time when a similar situation was taking place. Daniel was living at a point in time where there was a world ruler, or world rulers, governing almost the entire known world and having the people of God in captivity. So then God used him to prophesy about events that are going to happen in a similar manner in the future. My point is, there's a significance to God showing me these visions and night visions concerning World War III at a point in time when there's tensions in the Middle East. Remember, I'd shared in a previous prophetic alert how I had a night vision, and in the night vision, a man walked up to me and explained that World War III will not begin in Europe. It will begin in the Middle East. There will be conflict in the Middle East, and one group of superpowers will support one side, another group of superpowers will support another side. The two groups will lock themselves in battle, and the world will be engulfed in World War III as a result, right? So remember, that is what is going to happen, and that is why God has been speaking to me a lot every time there are tensions in the Middle East. Okay? So just keep that background in mind as I share these visions concerning what he has shown me. So remember, this is going to be such a monumental event, and it is important that this warning be passed to as many people as possible. So definitely share this with as many people as possible. And on your part, be praying, be fasting, be asking God for guidance on what to do. And the Lord has promised that this is an event that we've been granted to see, and he will share many more visions and words concerning the same, and definitely will share them with you and bring more clarity as we approach the timing of this event. All right, so the first vision that I'm going to share is a vision that I titled An Attack Against the US. So in this vision, it was like something had happened suddenly, like there was a sudden attack against the US. And I saw military political leaders being rushed into secure locations. So it was as if they were being put in like these safe locations, and some were being transported or put into like specialized, let me call it that, specialized military planes so that they could give commands to the military while they're up in the air or in these secure locations. And as I was watching this, like literally, my mind was thinking, this looks like what happened during 9/11 when President George Bush was actually um, taken up in his special plane away from danger, and so that he could be able to still give orders to the military in a war situation, because they didn't know what was going to happen at that time. They didn't have clarity about who had attacked the US initially, right? So the vision that I had was actually depicting a similar situation where the leaders, the president's successors, were being rushed into like secure locations and into like these specialized planes so that they could give orders to the military while in those secure locations, right? So the emphasis here was there was an emergency, sort of an emergency, and there was this like huge rush to get the leaders of the military, that's the president and the successors and those leaders in the military who are in charge of different divisions in secure locations so that they can command the military even as, this attack was going on, right? And again, as I was watching this, it literally reminded me of 9/11, and it reminded me of Pearl Harbor, the kind of attack, that sudden emergency attack that caused the US to rally into a war mode. The other vision that I saw was this, let me call them super fast fighter jets or bombers, like rushing, like a bunch of them, like there's so many of them, they're rushing. And it was like they were rushing to attack a specific area of the world. And it was as if they were trying to outbomb this place before they could destroy the US, right? It's like a situation where we are going to bomb this place before they outbomb us, if that makes sense. And then in the next vision that I saw, war had been declared. This was again in the US. War had been declared and there were preparations going on. Like the entire nation was in preparation mode. And in this specific one, in this specific vision, I saw soldiers preparing for war. Um, so they were putting on some of these things. I don't know the right military terminology for it, but like kind of like trackers to be able to identify bodies in case someone dies, right? So, and I saw some of the soldiers deciding, or opting for like some kind of like special chips that had been invented by the military or some military contractor to be put in their bodies in order to be able to track or identify them in case they died in war. I also saw military trucks or equipment. I saw, they're loading short range missiles, long range missiles. I saw bombs. I saw soldiers heading out in groups. And I also saw new recruits being trained by a drill sergeant. And they're practicing being taught how to handle weapons, being physically fit, all that kind of stuff that the drill sergeant does with army recruits. So this vision was emphasizing preparation for war. Um, but the point was, war had broken out, the US had declared war, and the soldiers were actually heading out to war in a foreign land. Um, and then in another vision, I got more clarity as to the timing of this war. What I mean by that is this: I saw Gen Zs. I saw that Gen Zs were going to be the majority of the military when World War III breaks out. And that's a very important thing to understand, because if you think about it, Gen Zs right now at the age group 12 to 27, right? And the US military age is, for the Army, I'm just looking at my notes right here. For the Army, it's 17 to 35. For the Marines, it's 17 to 28. So, what that means is, when God was emphasizing that the military was going to be mostly the Gen Zs, it means that this is an event that is very imminent. It's not something that will take, it will be something beyond our lifetime. World War III is something that is going to take place in our lifetime. And Gen Zs are going to be at a prime military age when the war breaks out. So I saw that the Gen Zs were going to be the majority of the US military at that point. And then in another vision, this was symbolic, I was telling one of my, a daughter to my in-laws, she's almost getting to 17 in around 5 years or so. So basically she'll be in military age in like 5 years. I was telling her that, look, I was telling the mom, my in-law, in this vision, I was telling the mom that, look, your daughter is going to be called up to war. She's going to be called up to serve in the military during World War III. But we will pray and she will be protected. So again, the emphasis was, she is a Gen Z. Right now, she's not yet military age, but the war is going to break out at a point in which she'll be called up to fight. Again, about the Gen Zs, this is a different night vision. So in this vision, I was ministering in a church, right, in a church setting, and praying for people because the war had broken out. And of course, we're praying for protection, praying that, God will preserve those who are here, and, those who go into war. And as I was laying hands on this group of Gen Zs, again, the vision was clear, it was Gen Zs. As I was laying hands on this group of Gen Zs, I heard a voice telling me that yes, you're praying for protection for them. Some of them will be protected from this war, but some of them will not come back, because that is the only way their souls will be saved. So in other words, the Lord was saying that yes, it's going to be a sad situation where some Christians will be called up to war, yes. Some will be protected because of prayers, but some, actually, God will take them home through this war. So, to re-emphasize, God was giving me and us an idea of the timing of this war by emphasizing that the Gen Zs are going to be the majority of the military age, at least in the US, when this war breaks out. The last vision that I'm going to share is The Russian Navy in this vision was coming against a country that was bordering the Red Sea. So in this vision, it was interesting because I wasn't shown what particular country that was going to be, but the point was the Russian Navy or Russian military was coming against a country that was bordering the Red Sea. Right, so of course Russia is going to be involved in this war, will be a major player in this war, and it was coming against a country that was bordering the Red Sea. So clearly Russia will be fighting this war in support of one of the players in this war in the Middle East. Right, so Russia is going to be deeply involved in this war. So people ask a lot of questions about this war. Is this something that can be prevented? Is this something that can be delayed? Is this something that can be lessened? I'll respond to the first question. Is it something that can be prevented? And the answer to that, what God showed me about that, I'm going to reserve that vision and words for like a future session about this topic. God showed me that this war will not be prevented from happening. And it is because people are not going to change their ways. Right? I'll get more into that topic later, but the point is, this war is something that will happen, and the way to pray against it is not to pray about it. The way to pray about it is not to pray that it will not happen. The way to pray about it is that we should be preserved as it happens, and it should be shortened. So, just to give an example, instead of taking like X number of years, we should pray that it should be shortened to take half X number of years, right? But this is something that will happen. I will give you the spiritual reasons for this at a future prophetic alert, but it will happen. But we have to pray. We have to pray. We have to pray about this. Again, it's something that is imminent. It's not something that is too far off. It's something that is going to take place in our lifetime. And yes, the war will touch the mainland of the US. It will reach the very shores of the US. Okay, so let's pray. This is a call to prayer. This is a call to fasting. This is a call to preparation. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, share this video with as many people as possible. This is a very important event, and we want as many people to be prepared for the same. Thank you for tuning in once again. God bless you.